First story. My 25M relationship is ending with my GF 25F, and I need a car. Where do I look with bad credit? We both used it full time. She worked from home and I used the car to commute for my job. We started off with our own cars, and eventually would go back and forth with maintenance issues and would rely on each other's cars. Fast forward to today and we share the same car. She financed it under her name 2 years ago. We've been living together for years at this point and have always split bills. At times we had more money incoming, but neither of us established a savings due to life's problems. We always shared funds with each other. So it's been rough lately and it seems to have come to an end. I need a car because she's taking hers and currently won't let me use it. Suggestions for those that dealt with his? Also, my credit is crap. Update. We both used it full time. She worked from home and I used the car to commute for my job. We started off with our own cars, and eventually would go back and forth with maintenance issues and would rely on each other's cars. Fast forward to today and we share the same car. She financed it under her name 2 years ago. We've been living together for years at this point and have always split bills. At times we had more money incoming, but neither of us established a savings due to life's problems. We always shared funds with each other. So it's been rough lately and it seems to have come to an end. I need a car because she's taking hers and currently won't let me use it. Suggestions for those that dealt with his? Also, my credit is crap. Second story. Opinions welcome. I don't know what to do. This is my first post. I have been married for 17 years with her for 19 years. My 42 MWW wife, 43F, was have affairs for the last 2.5-3 years. My first D-Day was May 26th. I tried to message my daughter to see why she was late on curfew. My phone location tracker wasn't working. My wife had been sick for 2 days and was asleep, so I grabbed her phone. What I found was all of the messenger apps with many 15-20 different guys, all sexual conversations with pictures and videos going both ways. Was smart, found what email addresses she had been using and changed every password for every account that deleted everything from her saved passwords. Since I had control of the 2 secret email accounts, I could then change all the social media passwords accounts before she woke up. Around 3:45 am she woke up and saw me with her phone and knew I saw everything. She tried to reach for her phone, but I quickly ran out the door and took off in my car before she could follow me. However, my daughter, who suffers with mental health, wouldn't stop calling me, crying and texting, so my documenting everything got cut short, and I missed some big details. At least I know controlled everything and logged into the accounts on my phone. I started taking pictures of the conversations for the next 3 hours. Daughter came home late, apologized and knew something was wrong. Apparently she's 16. And her sister 15 had seen my wife constantly messaging people on apps, saw pictures from a distance and figured it out, but were too scared to tell me. I have since told them I'm not upset with them for not saying anything. I got the trickle truth for days. I only online until I showed her the message about her meeting one of the local ones, kissing first time, and a blowjob the second time. Due to her getting sick and me finding out she couldn't meet again for sex, but admittedly was going to, we started looking for ICs. I found one who sucks. And hers is not great either. However, we found a great marriage counselor. Before our first marriage counseling, I remembered I could pull Verizon records, and lo and behold, she had still been messaging one in CA, one state over, D-Day 2. This time she took off for a few hours. While I sat depressed and lonely. D-Day 3 was today. 3 weeks ago she said she did a full disclosure during MC. But some of the things she said didn't make sense timeline-wise and were just wrong based on what I read. So I went back into investigating mode. Since I controlled her Facebook account, I went into settings and saw you could download all of the messages. Google said it would include the deleted ones, but it did not in my case. However, she got the email saying it was ready for download and called me, so I bluffed and said I had everything and she need to come clean that instant and tell me about 2 APs that were instructors I knew personally and sent her to the class. Self-defense gun training. I feel horrible that I introduced them. Anyway, I had some screenshots from the first night and was able to get to admit to kissing and touching. Adults don't just kiss. I messaged the one, said some very nasty things about what he has done to my family, daughters and me, and he owed me the truth, and I demanded a phone call, which was made this morning. I told him I wasn't saying anything but needed to know if my wife was lying and to start talking. He admitted they had sex 4 or 5 times over the course of a year in his truck or in hotels. I've done my best to try and get him fired from the school. I went full scorched earth and told some friends that know him and live nearby that talk to everyone. I'm sure the entire town knows by now. Well, I had my wife step outside to talk away from the kids, and for 5 minutes she kept denying sex. Until I picked up my phone and asked I needed to call AP Eric back, as he had told me everything. She finally admitted to sex. But this isn't the only one, so I'm lost as what to do. We have marriage counseling in 2 days. I'm going to bring this all up, but I just want to give up on her. She never admitted to anything I didn't already know. However, aside from lying in the disclosure, she was doing everything right. I still love her, but I'm so incredibly angry at the APs. It's taking everything I have not to go be extremely violent with them. Sorry this was so long. I left a lot out and can add more if you have questions. I'm just so hurt right now. Is that common for WW to not admit to the worst? I knew in my heart that she had been have sex with them. Third story. Am I being cheated on? Little bit of backstory. My wife is originally from out of state, but has a lot of friends that are back from where she used to live. Anyway, back at the beginning of the year, she had expressed wanting to take a trip out there to see her friends and get together with one friend, female, who had been living out of the country for a number of years now. Now, prior to that trip, I had found messages between her and an old friend of hers about her taking a trip out there and teasing him, and a few other things. Never said anything sexual, but were sharing sexual content TikToks back and forth to each other. So I made the very foolish decision to confront the friend instead of her, which in turn my wife found out about. So then she goes off on me, and I tell her about the messages I saw, and she says that said messages don't exist. So I look through her phone and see that they are no longer there. So me continuing to say I know what I saw, she continues to say that they do not exist. Soon after, she put a pin on her phone. Next, from a previous time, she had signed into her email on my phone at some point and forgot to sign out of it. I see a notification pop up that she had ordered a few pieces of lingerie, so I confront her about it again. Mind you, this is all happening prior to her trip, which is already set. So I confront her about it and she says that they were supposed to be a birthday present for you. Mind you, this is in May and my birthday isn't until August. So I brush that off as bad timing. So now fast forward to last week, on Thursday, she flew back to her home state to take home her niece who had been staying with us for a little while. She returned home tonight and I figured I would help her out by starting a load of laundry with her clothes from her trip. Unbeknownst to me, I find 2 pairs of lacy lingerie underwear in her bag. And I mean, I'm talking like not a whole not overcover underwear. Is this something that girls do just cause it's what they grabbed out of their drawer, or is it normally thought and planned out? Now after all of this, I feel more lost than ever, and I just want answers and the truth. Am I overthinking this and blowing this up way more than I should, or does this feel justified? Sorry, this is a long story. Thanks for reading. Fourth story. Got dumped out of nowhere. I, 25M. Have been in an on and off relationship with this girl, 25F. Things so far were looking really promising until I suddenly got dumped out of nowhere. For context, We met about 2-3 years ago through a dating app and started off as a casual relationship, and we had breaks in between where we weren't seeing each other. But more recently, we decided to take our relationship more serious. We weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were exclusive. To give some more context, she would be the one to end things and then resume the relationship whenever she wanted. Except for one time where I got frustrated and ended things with her, and she actually apologized and asked me to take her back. This most recent stint of being on started off really abnormally. She texted me in the middle of the night saying how much she missed me, and how other guys weren't like me, with a ton of, I think, love bombing, calling me baby and saying how handsome I am. Once we were in a relationship again, everything was picture perfect. Way better communication than before. She opened up to me about her traumas that she has never told many people about, and we even planned multiple trips to take. The dumping caught me so off guard, because we were supposed to go on a trip for her birthday that's coming up in a couple days. And she was telling me how excited she was and how much she appreciates me. Then all of a sudden she calls me and says, "Hey, this isn't working out, it's nothing personal. I just need to be alone. I wanted to let you know before the trip." I was in such shock, I didn't even know what to do, so I just replied with "Thanks for letting me know, and I wish you the best." I didn't say that to come off nonchalantly. I literally was so shocked I had nothing else to say or ask. After the call, I was able to process what had happened, and all the questions started forming, like, is there something wrong? Did I do something? Is there another guy involved? Is this a short-term break or are we done for good? I tried to follow up and ask her, but she had blocked my number right after the call. By the way, that's normal for her. She always blocks me whenever we are on a break. At this point, I don't even feel sad or frustrated. I'm just confused. I'm 99.9% sure she'll come back based on the patterns of her behavior. But I'm just seeking some advice for how to proceed if she does make contact again, because I'm getting too old to play these childish games with her. Fifth story. Wife of 14 years had an affair 6 years ago. First, obligatory English is not my mother tongue. My wife and I got together when she was 16 and I was 17. Now we are in our early 30s, no kids. I've always thought of her as the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. We've never argued. She's never been with anyone before me. I dated few girls before her. It was kind of serious with one of them. One thing was that she literally never initiated sex with me. I always had to be the one to start. I just thought that her libido is low and sex is not that important for her, so I, dealt with it solo style. It was never the dead bedroom situation though. We had sex at regular intervals. About 3 years into the relationship, she broke up with me, citing I'm in love with another guy as the reason. She immediately regretted it and we got back together a few days later. I know that you will probably think that she cheated on me during those days, but I honestly believe it was just a temporal fuck up from her side and nothing happened with that guy. She didn't even tell him. I actually know him. He was her classmate and we talked to each other a few times and there was no indication of anything whatsoever. Also, it would invalidate her later argument I wanted to try sex with another guy, which I believe is honest, but I will get to that. However, it did put a strain on our relationship. Fast forward another 4 years. I finished college and started working full-time. She was finishing her college. We were still living with our parents, but also about 10 minutes away from each other. We grew up in the same neighborhood. In my head, the plan was always to move in together after we finished colleges, but from current perspective, the plan was not communicated enough. About that time, she started to spend time with a new group of friends and especially this one guy. From my point of view, our relationship was still pretty much perfect. But my gut told me to be wary about this guy. I knew that they met alone occasionally and I saw them texting. So, one day, when she was spending the night at my parents' place, I checked her phone. I didn't even feel guilty about it. because I knew that she also checked my phone at least one time before, and I wasn't mad about it at all, even laugh about it. I did not found anything specifically romantic. They were supposed to meet that exact day later, which she did not tell me about, but okay, she has right to meet her friend, even though I'm not thrilled about this guy. So I scrolled a little more and I found these 3 messages. Guy, my flat is free this night. Do you want to come over and spend the night? Wife, I think it would be weird if I just came over for the whole night. Guy, okay, it would be easier if we would stop all the secrecy. And that was the end of the conversation. My heart sunk. I confronted her immediately. And now comes the part where I am a gullible idiot. She said that he's a friend, that she enjoys his company. She swore that nothing happened between them, that he's trying to pursue her romantically, but she's not reciprocating it, that he tried to kiss her once, but she pushed him away. Needless to say, it did not add up with the messages. But I could never even imagine her cheating on me, so I bought it to a certain point. I thought, okay, maybe they kissed once while drunk and then she immediately regretted it and it never happened again. She said that she did not know what he meant by the secrecy. We made up the same day. She swore to never meet with him alone again. However, she did continue to hang out with this group of friends where he was included. Few times she even went to hang out with them after our date, leaving me to go home alone. I called the guy few days after I found the messages, not sure why, probably just to tell him he's an asshole and to leave my girlfriend alone. He basically laughed to my face. So I threatened to tell his fiancé. Yes, he had a fiancé. He told me I'm free to do so, that they have open relationship. I told her anyway just to make sure he's not bluffing, but, well, he wasn't. That was about 6.5 years ago. Half a year after that, we moved in together with my then girlfriend. Later we got married and I thought everything was perfect. This incident came to my mind every now and then and the messages never fully made sense to me. I thought about confronting my wife, but I never did. Until this month. We were attending this festival. Our friends group split for a few hours to attend different activities. She was in one half, I was in the other. When we regrouped again, she was blackout drunk. That was not unusual for her. She can't really handle alcohol sometimes, and even though I'm not happy about it, she gets to this condition every now and then. However, when we arrived, I saw one of the friends holding her around a hip. He also left immediately when he saw us coming, which looked quite suspicious to me. Looking back, this was probably innocent and he was just holding her so she wouldn't fall to the ground, and he left when he saw us to go to get shots. He's known to buy shots all the time, so he probably just wanted to buy shots for our half of the group. I don't know. My wife and I left immediately after I arrived and saw her condition. But it reminded me of the incident from 6 years ago and it got me thinking. When I was carrying my drunk wife back to the hotel room, I asked her about the hand around the hip and also about the earlier incident. She completely avoided talking about the latter. So I asked her directly, told her that I don't believe she told me everything. Then, she finally admitted that they kissed. I got angry, but it also got me thinking even more. We went to sleep. Next morning I woke up early and came up with a plan to trick her. I woke her up and told her that last night she told me that she slept with the guy 6 years ago. Hoping that she won't remember it's not true because of the alcohol. I was expecting something like, "What the hell are you talking about? I couldn't have told you that because that never happened." Boy, was I wrong. All I got was a guilty silence and then, finally, confession. I packed my things and left her there. I was shaking, she was crying, and because she was still drunk and probably in shock, she told me few really stupid arguments. Your father also cheated on your mother is the winner. She arrived home few hours later as I was her ride and she had to take the train. Then we talked. She said that she didn't feel like I was attracted to her physically as I never complimented her on her looks or anything. That's my fault and I accept that. I've never been a person to communicate my emotions that much. Then this guy came and flooded her with compliments, which she was starved for, even though it was just to get into her panties. She also mentioned that the situation improved drastically after we moved in together, and she doesn't feel that way anymore, at least not that much. Then there was the argument from earlier that she wanted to try to have sex with someone else. So she admitted that they slept together once. And, yeah, that does not add up with the earlier messages in my conversation with a guy's fiancé. So the next day, after I thought about it, I came to her and said that I don't believe that it was a one-time thing. She insisted that it only happened once. So I threatened her that I will ask the guy or his fiancé. Immediately, she admitted that it was actually going on for 2 months until I caught them. So it would actually continue if I didn't catch them. To be precise, they planned to have sex the same day I caught them, few hours after she had sex with me. Later, by establishing the timeline, I found out the affair was actually going on for almost 6 months. She said that she doesn't remember it precisely, which I believe, because it's not much of a difference. But she admitted that they had sex about every 2 weeks during that time. And she said that she would probably end it in a month or two, because of the guilt. But we will never know because I caught them earlier. The worst thing is that she's never told me the truth. I had to trick her into telling me that they actually slept together, and then again, I had to threaten her to get her to admit that it was a full-blown affair going on for months. My obvious question was if there was someone else except this guy. She swore that there was none else. I tend to believe her because this was most probably the first guy she cheated with, and shortly after this affair we moved in together, and the situation improved. Also, as I told her, at that point, the pros of telling me the truth at least once would outweigh the cons of her cheating with one more guy. But then again, how can I trust her after all of that? I'm not looking for any answers here, I just wanted to get it out. After finding out, I never considered divorcing her. We agreed to work on things. I will communicate my emotions more and make her feel more attractive. I do find her attractive and always have, it was just a communication problem. So a general improvement in the communication. One positive thing is that now I know that she actually enjoys sex, and she's just been really shy about it. We can work on that. She promised to be more initiative. She also promised never to lie to me again, which I hope she's already not doing, and to stop overusing the alcohol. Well, that's about it. Thank you for reading this. Oh, and by the way, she did spend a night at the guy's place later after the messages. I should have mentioned that, but she did take a full responsibility for the affair and did not blame me. She looks honestly remorse, like she really regrets what she has done and not that she got caught. She's been crying for the last week and barely ate anything.